Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas of it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night.
I see new horizons are opening up, new feelings. I feel great in every moment when I see the world around me. It makes me feel
Open to the new shades. Amazing Thailand.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to TAT webinar, which officially organized by Tourism Authority of Thailand. And today's topic is the increasing sale through sustainable concept on German market. First of all, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Panupan Jantarapanya, a marketing officer at Europe, Africa, and Middle East Market Division at TAT Head Office, and I will be your host throughout this session. Before we are going to meet with our today's speaker, May I introduce you briefly about how to join this TAT webinar smoothly and efficiently. During this webinar, if you would like to communicate with our admin team, please type your message at the chat box, which is located on the right of the screen. At this chat box, you can also enjoy communicating with other audience who is joining with you. However, if you have a question you would like to ask about the topic, please go to the Q&A section, which is located on your left of the screen. By the way, if you find your question is already there, just click vote to support the question you would like to ask. This is to make sure that your question will get the priority to be answered. May I remind you that our speaker and me will not see what's going on at the chat box, so please make sure that you type your question at the Q&A section. Moreover, the presentation of today's topic is available to download at the below link of the screen. You can just click and download it. Before you leave this TAT webinar, I would like to ask for your kind cooperation to submit your comments at the questionnaire section, which is located near the Q&A section on the left of the screen. By sharing us your feedback, it's very important to TAT to improve our project in the near future. And now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our today's speaker. Firstly, please welcome our guest of honor, Kun Patsi Permwongsaini, the Director of TAT Frankfurt office.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ คุณพัตสี How are you today?
Fine, thanks.
Our TAT Frankfurt office is responsible for 3 areas of Germany, Switzerland, and Austria country. And today, Kun Patsi will share us the in-depth of German market insight. Secondly and thirdly, please welcome our beautiful marketing teams of TAT Frankfurt office, Kun Veronika Bulowski, the marketing manager of TAT Frankfurt office, and Kun Laura Starter, the marketing executive of TAT Frankfurt.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ How are you?
Good, thank you very much.
Today, Kun Veronica and Kun Lola will share us the very interesting information about the latest update situation of COVID-19 in German country and how are the people living at the moment. Then they will share us about the overview of current situation, outlook and scenario of traveling ambience for German. And at the end of their presentation, they will share us what TAT is preparing for the Thailand tourism industry for post-COVID-19.
Yeah.
And next, our last of today's speaker, please welcome Kun Stephanie Sepp, the Managing Director of Green Post.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ Kun Stephanie, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Okay, thanks for joining us today. You may doubt what is Green Poll. Today, Kun Stephanie will introduce us about Green Poll, and then she will also share us some interesting information about the rapid growth of the sustainable tourism in Germany and why sustainability concept become an important part to be included in our marketing plan and strategy to attract more German travelers to Thailand. And now our speakers are more than ready to meet you. I will give the floor to them. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy that presentation.
สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you คุณพานุพันธ์ for the brief introduction. I appreciate your presence and interest in our German market webinar today. German market has been one of Thailand's oldest market sector. Considering the European market, Germany ranks third in terms of numbers of tourist arrivals to Thailand and revenue. In general, Germans like traveling, and Thailand has been their favorite holiday destination. According to the travel analysis in 2020, Germans were in a holiday mood. Approximately 72% of the German population had planned their holiday and travel destination. Unfortunately, the plans postponed due to the COVID-19. Based on our 2019 data before the pandemic, 18% of Germans opted for long-haul traveling. The most popular place for vacation was the USA and followed by Thailand. Almost 850,000 tourists traveled to Thailand from Germany. Winter holiday had been the most favorable traveling season. On average, 64% of tourists go during this time. Between the months of January to March, the number of arrivals from Germany was high and growing. Over 70% of the German tourists are repeat travelers. They love Thailand and would like to visit the country again and again. There had been a growing trend of last-minute traveling arrangements to Thailand. Germans usually book their trip only 5 to 6 weeks in advance. On average, the length of stay is about 2 weeks or 14 days. Each person spent nearly 62,000 baht per trip, and allow 45% of Germans preferred package tour, which include airfare and hotel accommodations. These travelers love going to the beaches. Nevertheless, they are also looking for new experiences, moving away from the usual hotspot for tourists to remote destinations. Germans also care for their community and environment. They prefer sustainable tourism, where garbage is sorted and recycled, and eco-friendly materials are utilized. This sustainable tourism is now a trend among European travelers. Now, our next session. Please welcome Ms. Veronica and Ms. Laura, who will give you an overview of current situation and changes in travelers' behavior. They will also share their experiences during the lockdown and how TAT Frankfurt has responded. Please welcome.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
ขอบคุณมากค่ะ พี่เจส คุณพัตซี่ Yeah, also a warm welcome from us, Veronica and myself. We form here the marketing team in Frankfurt, Germany. Some of you might already know us, and for those who not, happy to meet you, and hopefully also soon in the future in Thailand in one of your beautiful properties. Yeah, I can imagine that you are quite curious on what we're gonna tell you today, especially on the pre and the post-COVID experiences, and also what we have experienced now in the last couple of weeks here in Germany.
So actually, it's a good topic, Laura, and it's a good question. So how did you experience the pandemic, the crisis during the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, it actually started somehow in January when Thailand was the first country where we found another person who got infected with the coronavirus. And there we, of course, were monitoring it very closely, seeing, okay, what does it mean now that there is one infected person in Thailand? Will it also come here to Europe, or are Europeans afraid on going there? And then coming the ITB closer and closer, we thought, okay, and also worldwide the cases were increasing, and then we thought, whoa, okay, now it's getting really serious. And then the only consequence was, of course, of canceling the ITB. And this was, of course, a bummer for us, because as you all know, we are also together with the head office in charge of organizing it, and it's the most important event for the tourism industry to make business and so on. But of course, health and safety first, so all good that it in the end got cancelled. But then, of course, after the ITB got cancelled, then a few days or a week after, it also meant for us, okay, now we don't go to the office anymore. We go home and we work from home. And yeah, we are back now in the office. That's why we're also sitting so close together. So no physical distancing since the 18th of May. And yeah, but before that, working from home was an experience. I also like it, I have to say, but after a while, like my kitchen chair was quite uncomfortable. So I'm really in need of a Thai massage, actually. And now we can also slowly meet up with people again. But back then it was, you were only allowed to stick to your own household. And if you wanted to go out, you could only meet one additional person, but only with a maximum amount of 2 persons in total. But of course, compared to many other countries in the world, we were quite fortunate that we were allowed to go even outside for a walk. So not only going to the supermarket and so on, but we really could go for a walk if you keep the distance. And there, Germans also learned more how to be quite disciplined. And yeah, now it's getting better and better, but you also have to consider that Germany consists of 16 federal states, and in each state there is a different regulation.
So basically, the cancellation of ITB was kind of a starting point where people really realized in Germany, okay, it's getting serious. And after this was realized, and also, of course, by the government monitored very closely, they tried, or not tried, they started to put some measurements into our daily lives. So what happens was there was a lockdown. They issued a travel warning, and it was a travel warning for all countries worldwide. So for all non-necessary touristic trips, they said it's really something that never happened before. So this also showed us, the population, how serious it was. What was next is, of course, several flights were stopped. And also the government, they organized repatriation flights, meaning those travelers, those holiday makers that were spread around the world, they were brought home to Germany to be safe. So this is also something that happened for the first time in this form. And also what happens next is, as a measurement, was a 14-day quarantine in case you return from another country. And in general, so many measurements were taken and so many things happened that changed really the daily lives of the people here in Germany. Of course, across the world, but we want to introduce you what happened in Germany. So there was short-time work, school and kindergarten were closed. Some people had to take compulsory leave. So even if they could not go anywhere on holiday or didn't want to be on vacation, they really had to take this leave. So it was a very challenging time in our private lives, but also when it comes to business. For the tourism industry, it was a big and sharp cut. So what we have seen is many bankruptcies. We have approximately, or had approximately 11,000 travel agencies and 2.3 thousand tour operators. So this is a very big industry in Germany. And I have to say, or we have to say, we monitored it, and it really broke our hearts to see our partners suffering. to see branch partners being bankrupt or file for insolvency and so on. So this is very hard to see and watch that, and we cannot do anything about it. And some of them were really established for many, many years. So this was a big thing. And the thing in Germany was that many other businesses were supported by the government, but the tourism industry was kind of, let's say, ignored. And this led to many protests across the country. The protests were led by tour operators, travel agents, and in fact, there's 1.2 million jobs endangered in the tourism industry. So what they do right now is they demand for financial aid, or they demand financial aid from the government. And so these are the things that happen here in our industry. It's hard to watch, but there is some also positive outlook. We're gonna talk about it later. But as Laura mentioned, also at TAT, we had some measurements as working from home and placing the most important info on the social media channels and on the website so that our end consumers are informed during the whole process of the pandemic. What we have done, because we knew that the travel agents and the tour operators really suffer right now. So what we have done is we produced some nice TAT masks, which you can see, to cheer them up. And we sent a letter in terms of, yeah, we stand together, we support each other. We just wanted to cheer them up and to give them the feeling that we are side by side and that we really want to support them once it's possible. So this is something we have done quite at the beginning of the pandemic, of the crisis. Of course, the marketing activities were on hold, and we started to work on a recovery plan. And this recovery plan included several stages. So Laura is going to tell you some of the activities we did in the past couple of weeks.
Exactly. Well, our first recovery plan was focusing on B2B activities, so in particular for our travel agents, because more and more when we were in touch with them, either by phone or in the past when we had roadshows or we had personal touch and conversations with them, we learned that actually many of them, they do sell Thailand pretty well, but they're not really aware of the destination, or they don't know any updates. They might know these familiar sites like the Grand Palace and so on, but we wanted to give them an insight and show. That's why we produced our own webinar, which you can see there with pink letters. There you have 10 models which you have to fulfill, and it's very good, very entertaining, and in the end you will be asked some questions where will be a test, and later on you can also get a certificate, and you can hang it then either in your travel agency or so on, and it also entitles you to take part in one of our fan trips. And then we also got the opportunity from PATA to step in and to deliver one of our other webinars that we did in cooperation with them. And there's like that also those travel agents who participate in there, they also have the chance of getting a membership. So there is always added value for them, not only familiarizing with the destination, but what was very important for us during this COVID time is to keep Thailand in mind and to really have it as a preferred travel destination there as soon as possible to travel again. Yeah, and then we also did some PR activities. It's also as a recovery plan, and already a few years ago we developed our own TAT blog, and as you can see there we have 8 ambassadors. All of them are bloggers, and most of them, they are even Thailand experts or have been traveled to Thailand really often and are really familiar with this destination. And there it's like that, it's really, it's called Discover Amazing Stories, because Thailand has so many amazing stories to tell. You know, it's not only a beach destination, and there we also have certain categories like culinary, luxury, lifestyle, and so on. And there we also introduce several hidden gems, such as Pre, Na, Nakhon Si Thammarat, and so on. Please feel free to go on our website. It will be linked there to our blog as well. And that's really telling stories. It's in a storytelling format by our ambassadors, and to really give some insights on the local way of life, how people live, and really to surprise you, to see Thailand also like through the eyes of a little child who wonders and says, oh yeah, cool, that's really a place I would love to go to. And now in the COVID time, we really emphasized on it and said, okay, let's feed our blog, let's create amazing stories on it. And here you can see like an outlook on how it looks like. It approximately, you read it for around 7 minutes. Unfortunately, it's in German, but for those of you who can speak German, have a look at it. It's really cool, and it's really highly appreciated by our fans. And it's also good for those actually when you go on the Google ranking due to our categories. If there is one certain topic and people are interested in it, and then suddenly Thailand pops up, and then it's a good way for them also to familiarize with the destination and think, hey, cool, I didn't know that this is possible in Thailand, and then they consider it for their next trip. Okay, then we also had B2B as well as B2C actions that we did during our COVID time. This was mainly also done on our social media channels, because we also faced that, especially during the lockdown, it was kind of a renaissance of Facebook again, because in the past we saw that Instagram was really coming up and was taking over, but now that's also lots of traffic going on Facebook again. And there we teamed up with some tour operators. We addressed a letter to all of them and said, hey, don't you want to take part in our social media campaign? And here it's just an example of a medium-sized tour operator and a niche tour operator. And there they made a little video also to cheering up people, also seeing who is actually behind those tour operators, who are those faces. And then they shared some cool impressions on Thailand and also gave some insider tips and really added value for the customer or the fans. But apart from that, we of course also did some other activities on social media, like culinary, because in German we say Liebe geht durch den Magen, which literally means like love goes through your stomach. And I mean, you Thai people, you know it of course as well. Food is a very important topic. So we delivered some recipes that they can cook at home to get like the Thai feeling back home. Yeah, and the main thing, of course, of this recovery plan is to inspire and increase the awareness of Thailand and to keep it there. Yeah, and now I will give the floor to Veronica, who is giving you some information on the current situation.
Yeah. To give you an impression of how many people were infected or recovered and how many active cases we have right now, we want to share some figures with you. So in total, we had so far approximately 180,000 cases and approximately 8,000 deaths. Recovered are almost 170,000. So it means that the active cases are pretty low right now. It's around 7,900 people. And if you think of a population of 83 million, this is a very good number compared to other European countries. We are doing pretty well in Germany. The people also have the trust in our medical system, and so really the outlook and the mood is getting better. Of course, as Laura mentioned, we have different states in Germany, so they all make their own kind of decisions. So of course the government gives kind of instructions and measurements, but still the restrictions differ from state to state. So what happens right now, and it happened actually last week, the decision was made last week, and this is a huge step, is that the German government will lift the official travel warning for 31 European countries in favor of individual travel as of June 15th. So this means that people gonna travel quite surely, because this has a large influence on their travel decisions. Germans are very much into safety, security. So this is what they were kind of looking for. Once the government says it's okay that you go to the other countries, of course, taking into consideration all the measurements that are taken there on site. But if they tell us, the Germans, that it's okay to go, people will go. And they will surely take this opportunity for the summer holiday, but we're going to talk about it later. But as mentioned, it's a very important step and a strong positive sign for Germans and also for other countries worldwide, of course. So it seems that we head into the right direction and that the German market really should be on top of the destinations list when it comes to targeting them. And another good thing that happens right now is that the travel agencies will reopen their branches mid-June. So talking about the current situation, but of course, what is the outlook? And as mentioned, it's the biggest challenge we had to face in our private life so far and in our tourism industry. So what we have done in the past months, weeks and months was we analyzed and we monitored and we created different scenarios. And we do not want to bother you kind of with the best case and the worst case scenario. What we want to do is we want to give you a kind of realistic scenario. But please keep in mind, we cannot predict. We cannot predict. We really have to monitor. We have to do little steps and act accordingly. So our realistic scenario is that or what we know is that domestic travel will be significantly less affected compared to the international travel. So what happens now is, I mean, the people were kind of hidden in their apartments. They were really, and they didn't have the chance to meet up with friends and families. And nowadays everyone is spread all around the country. So what's first for the people is to visit family and friends. So this is clearly domestic travel focus. And of course, now, once we know that the borders will open and that there's no travel warning anymore for European countries, short haul is going to be more and more important. So from approximately now June, July, people will start to travel and to do domestic travel and short haul travel. We count with long-haul winter sun destination traveling approximately from October, November. This is our estimation. Of course, we do not know, but this is according to the European Travel Commission and so on. There's different predictions and different analyses that say, okay, people by then will be again, most probably again, ready to travel. So what we have here in Germany is that usually the focus is on summer holiday, which means the summer months here in July, August, and so on. But we can, or we think that maybe it will shift a bit, that the winter will be the new summer. So it could happen that people now postpone their main summer holiday into the winter time, which is of benefit for Thailand, of course. So while rapid growth is expected in 2021, we don't think that the peak volumes we had in 2019 will be regained before 2023. This is also something the European Travel Commission mentioned, and we recommend also a shift in focus. So this means that we take advantage of recovery outside the traditional topics and seasons. So the destination will certainly benefit from higher spending, less seasonal areas, and this is actually also a very good foundation for the reduction of over-tourism. So what's crucial when we think of the future is that we continue with our marketing and promotion to keep travel and destinations on top of the mind of the travelers. And our plan is to do strategic and lasting partnerships with tour operators, and these partnerships should be supported by PR activities. So we are basically in this third stage of the recovery plan, is to turn the inspiration and the awareness we created over the last couple of months is into turning it into booking. So the conversion is a very important point. But of course, this depends on different variables, like how is the situation here in Germany? Is there a travel warning for Thailand by the German government? How is the situation in Thailand? How is the entry policy by the Thai government? How is the airline situation? What is the airline and flight schedule? So we have to take all this into consideration. Everything depends on these decisions. So definitely what we can say is that the whole crisis and that the pandemic really will change the consumer behavior. So when we talk about target groups and how they have changed, Laura's going to tell you something about it.
Exactly. We actually predict that those 4 categories will come back first, starting with Generation X. We call them here the active seniors because they are very well traveled. They're independent and flexible also in their travel time. And most of them, they are repeaters. So they know the destination really well. They know also that Thai culture in general is quite distant with the Y, for instance, and that there are not so many touching points there. And there are, of course, also good medical facilities. Then we count on the Generation Z, those who are aged from 18 to 24. Mostly it's those people who just finished their high school, or they just have their university diploma in the pocket. And they say, okay, the first big trip, I want to go somewhere long haul and spend some time there before I know how my professional career will look like. We really count on them. And then luxury wellness travelers. These are really good ones and realistic ones. And they are also for your hoteliers. They are mostly really looking for high cuisine, really like culinary topics. That's what is of interest of them. And also they value space, like really exclusive hotels, boutiques, and outstanding service, and that's actually all that they can find in Thailand. So there is a huge opportunity, and also, as I mentioned before, like being all the time now in home office or being stuck at home, you really also have the desire for a nice retreat, for recovering, and that's what also can be perfectly done in a wellness hotel, for instance. And then also a really interesting target group that you should take in mind and consideration is the LGBTQ, where Veronica will give you some more information on it. And this month we are also planning a really cool event on it, and we will introduce it briefly to you. And yeah, please, Veronica, give us an insight a little bit on it.
So the LGBTQ community is a very interesting one, especially from Germany. They are super motivated to travel. They've always been. So if you see the number of holiday trips they take, it's not comparable with any other target group. So, and also mostly there are DINKs, so double income, no kids. This means they are super flexible, not dependent on holidays. Their income or budget-wise, high spenders, which is super nice to have. And they're kind of fearless, you know, because they are always very open to travel to other countries. And as long as they know that they can feel safe and welcomed, which is the case in Thailand, this is a super important target group. So what we do right now, it's not even post-COVID, but right now is that we are the sponsor of the Online Pride, or first ever Online Pride 2020. Since the Christopher Street Days won't happen this year due to COVID-19, they will put everything or switch it into the online channels. So the awareness will be huge. We are going to receive the Spartacus Travel Award, which we received for best destination, best LGBTQ destination. They voted for us in the past couple of months. So this is a big thing for us and a very good opportunity to position Thailand among this target group. So we highly recommend this target group. Also with 6 million people, it's a huge one. It's sometimes it's a bit underestimated. So we look forward to this event. And talking about the target group, we have to be aware that it changes in terms of consumer behavior. So Laura's going to talk a little bit about it.
Right, so probably the need of traveling is now higher than ever before. We have all been locked down at home, and yeah, there's really desire to spread out, to see something new. And what we also experienced, there's a huge trend now of people going out into nature to really breathe there, and to one suddenly could hear all the natural noises, not only cars, but one could hear the birds, and that's really a valuable and precious time. That's what people are looking for, and also to encounter with people with different cultures and all kinds of variables. And what we definitely have to take into consideration, it's a health and safety issue. It has always been important in Germany, and now also more than ever. So that's what people consider when choosing a destination. And they are really concerned, and they really wait until the vaccine is there. Before that, they won't not really take the risk on traveling somewhere. And of course, also due to a short-time work, or even people who have lost their work, it's the question, do we even have the money? Or if we had the money, is it possible? Because we had to take all our holidays, even if we wanted. We cannot this year because the holidays are left. So that's why I better focus on those who are more financially independent and are flexible. And what we also saw in several studies is that flying will be more expensive in the future. That's then also a fact one has to take into consideration. But the advantage is that Thailand has on spot a good value on there. Of course, not cheap destination, but it's compared to other destinations quite affordable with an outstanding service. And then also, as we've mentioned in the beginning, some tour operators or travel agents, they get insolvent. So there's also a risk somehow for people. Shall I really book with them right now? Will they even exist or not? But at the same time, it's also an advantage, because we had this now from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs once a historical moment with the repatriant flights, but this won't happen again. They already announced it. So then you are in safe hands with your tour operator or your travel agency, because they take care from your entire trip till the end once you land back in Germany. And right now, domestic travel is really booming. Like if you want to book a hotel and a holiday apartment and so on, it's mostly impossible. They're all fully booked. People really want to stay within the country, and some of them do it, or they go to neighboring countries, which is also possible again as of next week. Yeah, and now Veronica will briefly get you also an insight on our TAT Frankfurt's action plan on what we're going to do after the post-COVID, which I think is really also important for you to consider, and there we can see how to team up.
Yeah, as mentioned, the promotion, marketing, PR are crucial also in this crisis. But post-COVID, of course, strong PR work is super important. What we have to keep in mind is new story angles like health and safety measures, slow, meaningful travel, and reaching out to selected target groups to be very specific in our press work and publicity work. So this is something we plan for the future, of course, coming with press trips. What we also do or gonna do is the PATA Roadshow, which will take place in November, again, to connect with the travel trade, to give them updates, to educate them. Then OTA campaigns, including sales on social media. This is something in the past we have done online OTA campaigns, but now we want to focus a little bit more because we see that there is a trend in terms of online usage, digitalization, and so on. I mean, Germany is still pretty conservative in comparison to the UK or to other countries. So we always had to take other roads than other tourism boards in order to reach our target group perfectly. But now we see a little bit of change, a little bit of shift. So this is important. But of course, it's also important to do campaigns with selected tour operators that focus, for example, on sustainability, on luxury tourism, LGBTQ trips, and so on. So this is something we plan for the future. We don't want to go into the detail, but just to give you an insight or an impression what we plan. So what we should definitely do is to use and communicate the advantages of Thailand. And as we know, we have 70% approximately repeaters that know Thailand. They know how well Thailand handles crisis. They trust Thailand. They know how the medical system condition is in Thailand, which is very good. There's good value for money, low infections and low mortality rate due to COVID. So these are things we have to communicate more in the future. And of course, as mentioned, monitor, watching carefully the situation, analyzing and reaching out to the respective target groups.
Right, and one target group which one also should consider is the conscious traveler, and there we should show you what needs they actually have, because Germans, they love going to the beach, but it's not only that, they are really looking for experiences. An experience could be like a food tour where they also have, especially the first timers who might be a little bit concerned, where can I really go, because Thailand is well known for its street food, and then the guide can show them, hey, what you're actually eating there, or also give some background information. Where does this recipe come from? And I could tell you a lot about it, and they are really popular, actually, those tours. And what we also discovered is homestays. And of course also craft stays, and really getting an insight into the country and people on how they live. And this could maybe also be an opportunity for your hotels to team up with those local communities, or if you have a staff member who lives in a certain community and you says, okay, I'm ready to show you my traditional, my mom or my dad, whoever, who is still aware of this way of doing crafts or so, that this can be included, because this is really what people are looking for, but then really on an eye level without being it like a zoo, you know. And what they're really looking for is holidays away from masses, because somehow Thailand is still considered as a mass destination, and there Thailand has so much to discover, what we're also doing with our blog post, for instance, by discover our amazing stories where we specifically portray those hidden gems, and also the plenty of national parks that we have in Thailand that you discover, and there's so much to see and to experience. And of course, they're really environmental conscious, what we can see with all the movements here, but also they really care. Plastic is a big issue, and this is something one can work on and also perfectly respond on as a hotel.
Yeah, and it's quite a good summary Laura gave us, and also we found a very nice quote that sums up how important sustainability is and will become, and also how the future should look like in tourism. So we want to share this nice quote with you, which is from Eduardo Santander, who is the Executive Director of the European Travel Commission. This crisis creates a downturn, but also an opportunity. We have the chance to think carefully about what kind of future we want for tourism and what directions and measures are needed to get us there. We shall use this opportunity to create a more resilient and sustainable destination in the future, which is better for our communities and our visitors and guests. So this is a perfect link also to our sustainability expert, Stephanie Seib. She's the founder and managing director of Green Pearls. So Stephanie, welcome, a warm welcome from us, and the floor is yours.
Sawadika, and hello to all. First of all, thank you, Kun, Patsy, Laura, and Veronica, to invite me to this webinar to be able to talk about a subject very dear to my heart, sustainable tourism. I want to shortly introduce myself and Green Pearls. My name is Stephanie Seib, and I'm the founder of Green Pearls Unique Places, which is a worldwide label for ecotourism an information platform, and a worldwide operating communication agency. Today, I'm very happy to give you a brief overview on the sustainable tourism development worldwide and especially on the German market. Let's first have a look at exactly what is sustainable tourism and how it is integrated in the market. When you think of yourself, and I think you agree that probably most people would associate with sustainability that it is about protecting and supporting the environment. But in fact, it is based on three pillars: the environment, the social part, and the economic part. In the past 8 years, sustainability had become a key factor for the touristic industry. ITB is a good indicator for this development. While in 2013, at ITB in Berlin, you could hardly find any booth promoting green travel, it really changed rapidly in the last years. In 2019, at ITB, you could not miss all the big signs at the different booths, which were promoting green and eco-friendly travel. So what we can clearly say that 2019 was a very good year for sustainable tourism. It has made a big change as issues of sustainability were omnipresent. Take Greta Thunberg, Larry Fink of BlackRock, or Prince Harry, or all of those issues like the plastic pollution and the pollution of the oceans, flight shaming, the global Friday for Future movements. It made the travelers change their mind, and travelers worldwide started taking stock of their environmental impacts. When we have a look at the German market and the sustainable trends, we see that most reports and surveys shows that people are willing to decide for greener vacation, and that it is something that we can stress when talking to our Green Pulse partners. In 2009, Booking.com in his statistics states that 62% of German travelers in 2018 wanted to stay at least once in an eco-friendly accommodation, while 57% of German travelers say that they are more likely to book an accommodation that they know is eco-friendly, no matter if they have thought about this before. And 47% would rather stay in an eco-labeled accommodation. And when we have a look at what sustainable travel means for the travelers, we see that 47% characterize green travel as staying in an eco-friendly accommodation, while 40% indicate that the reason they decide for a green place or a green accommodation is to help reducing the environmental impact, while 34% are seeking a locally relevant experience and 33% wanting to feel good with the choice of an eco-accommodation. And also Lonely Planet communicated in 2018 that 68% of travelers wanted to stay in an eco-accommodation compared to 65% in 2017 and 62% in 2016. And what are the current sustainable travel trends we see? For most of the travelers, choosing a green accommodation and destination is the first step when they think and plan about traveling sustainably. We clearly see also when we get the request from the bloggers and from the press that off-the-path travel becomes a more and more popular trend also in regards to challenge over tourism. It means that travelers decide for places that are not so well known and popular, so they have to gain so they have the chance to gain much more authentic experiences on site. Off-the-season travel could benefit both hotels and the travelers. Traveling in off or shoulder season gives travelers more time and space to experience touristic sites, and the travelers can get in contact with locals, and the hotels have a chance to sell rooms in green season. When we have a look at the younger generation, what are they looking for? Mostly they seek for local encounters, and for them traveling is learning about other cultures, and they want to experience things that have an impact also for their everyday life when they come home. And by providing those offers and by providing offers that reflect those trends, hotels have the chance to participate in this development. More attractive offers for low or green season help the hotels during the green season, while on the other hand, the travelers benefit from empty touristic sites and having more fulfilling experiences. But what is a sustainable hotel? In order to be recognized as a sustainable hotels, of course, hotels have to fulfill a lot of criteria. These criteria are in regards to architecture, the environment, the water management, energy management, waste management, food, and social engagement. I think we all understand that, of course, these requirements are based on a long-term strategy and development and cannot be realized in a short time. But there are green and social initiatives hotel can start with right away. Let's have a look at those short-term measurements a hotel can implement quite easily and in a short time. When we take, for example, the water management, a basic for water management is a hotel can start monitoring the water usage. Rainwater can be captured for use. The rain and grey water should be used to water the garden. Energy-wise, the hotels should use energy-efficient bulbs, and hotels should have sensors and time switches. In regards to food, the use of organic food is a very, very important worldwide topic. Hotels should put the focus on local products from organic farms. They should avoid plastic when serving meals. They should focus on local and regional cuisine. They should not use any plastic when possible. For example, for the straws, they can use papaya leaf stems, glass or stainless steel straws. Plastic bottles, instead of plastic bottles, the hotels should use glass bottles. When we have a look at the waste, hotels can start with waste separation, though our experience is that most of the hotels already implemented this, especially in Thailand. All hotel rooms and public areas should be provided with different bins to separate the waste. It's important to compost bio-waste whenever possible. And there's one more important thing I would like to share with you, something that annoys guests very, very often and is quite easily to handle, is to train the housekeeping, because guests, the most expressed complaint by guests is that they react to hanging their towels and not changing the bed linen, but then at the end it is still changed every day. And this is something that a hotel can very easily change, as I said, by training the housekeeping. And when we have a look at the social part, namely the social engagement in the hotel, as is of course it's essential that labor rights are respected, and the wages should meet or exceed local and national regulations. And whenever possible, the hotel should hire the local staff also for management positions. Employees should be involved in the development process of the management plan. Whenever possible, there should be an insurance that is provided for employees and their families. And very, very important for the success of all initiatives is a regular training for the employees. Hotels should as well be involved in projects in the communities, like in school or hotel projects. In order to make all those measurements a success, we see that communication is absolutely essential. Travelers often criticize that there are not enough green offers, and they demand for more sustainable travel ideas, despite we see that there are tons of great offers worldwide. And why are travelers not seeing this is because a clear and understandable and transparent communication is very often missing. Travelers are not willing to search a long time to get information on the green initiatives and of the destinations they want to go. So we see that it's absolutely necessary and evident to communicate about the green credentials the destination and businesses have. At the end, we can clearly say that sustainable tourism is a fast-growing trend, and all of us working in this industry are responsible to support and to strengthen this development. As in the same way, of course, the travelers are responsible to rethink their behavior and change. But their demand for more eco-friendly offers will foster more accommodations, destinations, and encourage other players in the industry to rethink. We are all responsible, and together we can make the world a better place. Thank you, and the floor is yours, Kun Panopan.
Thank you very much, Kun Patsi, Kun Veronica, Kun Laura, and Kun Stephanie for your great presentation. I would love to say that the sustainability concept is very interesting for Thailand tourism industry. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I remind you once again that if you would like to ask the question, please make sure that you type your question at the Q&A section, which is located at the left of the screen. And now we are almost at the end of TAT webinar. To complete the TAT webinar, shall we go to the top voted question number 1? Wow. From the backstage for that, there are now many questions coming during our session. So we will try our best to complete all the answers. So we'll answer it short and clear and straight to the point. So let's start with this question. What are the top 3 destinations in Thailand? So Kun Patsi, could you please tell us?
Considering European markets in terms of tourist arrivals and revenues, the first is Russia, second is United Kingdom, and third is Germany. Thank you.
Well, actually, Germans love to visit Khao Lak, Phuket, and Bangkok, if that is the answer to the question, what you were looking for, to see the destinations within Thailand.
Yes. So mainly the destination that our German love to visit is Bangkok and all the beaches destination. So we go to the next question, please. EU lift restriction for international travels. Thailand open airport for international arrival in July. When can German travel to Thailand again?
I mean, the EU lifts the restriction for international travel. That's right, but the EU consists of many, many countries. and Germany is one of them. So Germany has its own travel warnings and everything. So as mentioned, they're going to lift the travel warning for 31 European countries, but not for international travels. So this is something every destination has to be looked up by the traveler, and still there is a travel warning. So even though the airport opens, if there is a travel warning, the end consumer is not keen to travel yet. But as mentioned in the presentation, with our prediction and with the analysis of the European Travel Commission and so on, we expect the travelers to do long haul and Asian destinations and Thailand from October, November. This is, let's say this is potentially the time frame we count with
at that stage.
But as mentioned, we monitor this situation closely. We really have to see what the governmental decisions are and then act accordingly. It all depends on various variables, also on the airline capacities and so on and so on.
Yes, that's what all we have to waiting. So please go to next question. Which segment in German travelers will come to Thailand first?
Yeah, so also this question was actually answered in our presentation. We were talking about various target groups that we count with would be the first ones, but we also see the LGBTQ community as one of the first ones to return to Thailand.
Same as the millennials and also the active seniors. Yeah.
And luxury.
Yeah, and especially, of course, also our repeaters. And the repeaters, they are in all those segments. Yeah, those who are actually flexible, who do not stick to a holiday time, and preferably also financially independent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your question. So are the Generation X, active senior, Generation Start, Generation C, luxury, wellness, and LGBTQ will come to Thailand first. Okay,
Right.
I can't about this. So
Yeah.
get to the next question, please. Did government announcement that not allow German people travel abroad for this year? So I think you already answered for this question. So shall we go to the next question?
Yeah.
International tourists from the West only again like why the Q4. So, but they want to know why so late. So I think we complete for this question. So please go to next question. Thank you. Who are the main operators for LGBTQ market from Germany? Can we contact detail, please?
Yeah, so at the end of the presentation, we shared our contact details. So please reach out to us. There's various ones like Pink Tours, Kerle Reisen, Diversity Tours. So there is some niche tour operators that are specialized on this community. So you can reach out to us and we are happy to help you out.
Okay, so likewise, I informed you before that the presentation of today's session is available to download. So you can download it and get our contact. And from that contact, you can contact us. We are more than ready to give you this information. So next question, please. What are the criteria Greenco used to evaluate partnership? There are only 3 hotels in Thailand on your site. Is it only exclusive contract in a location? So, Kun Stephanie, could you please clarify this?
Yes, as also already mentioned in the presentation, we have a lot of criteria that is regarding to architecture, water management, and to energy, and food and social engagement. And the hotels have to fulfill at least 80%. And we have no exclusive contracts as we are not a marketing company, but we are a label and information platform and a communication agency. The hotels that we are working at the moment in Thailand, we are working with for a very long time. Actually, the Tongsa Bay and Koh Samui was the incubator for founding Green Pearls. And so you can find all the Green Pearls requirements also on the Green Pearls website when you go under the section about us, and we have clearly and transparently written all of our requirements there. And you can also, of course, contact me anytime.
Okay, thank you, Kun Stephanie, for your answers. That's all clear and complete. So please go to the next question. Would it be possible for Green Pearls to share with us the volume you have to Thailand each year? And what are the proportion between low-high seasons?
Actually, we are no tour operator, so of course we have our statistics, and of course we can see from where we get our visitors on the webpage, but we have no numbers how many people decide to go to Thailand because they have seen or they have contacted the Green Pearls platform. So I cannot answer the question about the proportion between low and high season, but we see that from what we hear from the press and also the bloggers we are working with, that it's a big shift, that more and more people, especially when they think about pearling sustainable, are more choosing the off or shoulder season.
Okay, thank you. So if any audience interested in Green Pearls information, so please contact Kun Stephanie directly. So she will give you more information about what is Green Pearls doing and what is their plan about Thailand. So please go to the next question. How can we join the LGBT event you mentioned? So Kun Veronica and Kun Lola.
Yeah, so if you mean like join as a participant, as someone that watches the event, you just have to look at YouTube, Pride Live, Undistance Your Heart. If you put this in YouTube, Pride Live, Undistance Your Heart, you will find the event. It will take place, I think I forgot to mention it before, it will take place on June 27, but it will be available afterwards. So it will be a 12-hour event online, which will be recorded and also available afterwards on YouTube and various other channels.
Okay, may I repeat the date again? So June 27?
Exactly.
On the Pride Live website.
Yeah, if you just put Pride Live and Undistance Your Heart, and then you will find the channel.
Okay, thank you. Okay, please go to the next question.
Is it exciting?
Okay, for this question, wow, the no plastic is fabulous, like what you have mentioned in your presentation, Lala and Veronica. But for the new COVID-19 regulation for coverings and demanding plastic for food cover, cutlery packaging, So there are many plastic for now. So what to do?
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely aware of it, and one really has to monitor and measure now the time. So right now it is compulsory to do that due to certain regulations, and of course the hotel should also stick to it. But sustainability has to do something with long term. So one can already prepare it, think of alternatives, what can be done. And also right now there is some time for hotels to also educate the staff on it and do it. And then later on, once the vaccine is there, for instance, and one don't have these measurements anymore, then one can swap to these kind of things. And one can also even communicate it to the guests on spot if they could ask, yeah, why do you have it here? Then you can say, okay, due to these reasons and regulations, but we also do have these ones, and you can show them to them.
And furthermore, sometimes there is an alternative for plastic packaging, you know.
Absolutely.
Something like
made out of corn or
beeswax, banana leaves as food cover or whatever. So there is some alternatives, but we admit it's pretty tough right now during this situation. Yeah.
But Veronica, there is no for this demand for the new COVID-19 regulation. With the same in Germany, there is no. You cannot choose banana or leaves or whatever.
Yeah.
It's plastic, but we are thinking about this at the moment. With our hotels here in Germany that have already opened, but you can order biodegradable plastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
there is no alternative. I think it's not so easy to get biodegradable plastic, but there is an alternative. But it has to be really a plastic packed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot choose anything else.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully, as soon as the epidemic of COVID-19 has gone, we will try all our best to return to the friendly natural products for the covering again. Okay, and I think we have now time for one more question. So please go to the next question. Who is a competitor with Thailand in German market and why?
Well, actually, even Germany can be considered now as a competitor because, as we have told you, the domestic tourism is booming at the moment. People, they really tend to stay within the country. But then also, if you have a look, we also had contact with the tour operators, and they're more and more preparing now tours in the neighboring countries, so within Europe. So also the European destinations have to be considered as a competitor. But if you want to focus on long haul, I mean, there are certain destinations that are now opening up again, like Sri Lanka, for instance. And there we have to take them into consideration also, especially in terms of wellness. So this can be one competitor. And also like Aruba and some Caribbean destinations, they also have their seals and their certificates that were recently shown. They have to be considered as well. Although there one has to see also how it is regulated with the flights and so. So we really hope that Thailand is opening up soon, and also the airlines are allowed to fly back to Thailand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I think after lockdown, so the most concern is the country nearby, the German, that we can go for travel first. And then after lockdown exit, so the country nearby Thailand will become our competitor, like for example, Laos. And what else? I cannot hear it clearly. I'm so sorry.
I mean, Vietnam was also doing pretty well. If you have a look at the infection rate, for instance, that's even better than in Thailand. So Vietnam also could be considered. Yeah.
Okay, Laos and Vietnam then. Okay. Thank you very much, Kun Patsi, Kun Veronica, Kun Lola, and Kun Stephanie for your great presentation and for your all clear answer. So it's now time for us to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your joining us today. ขอบคุณมากค่ะ And we truly hope that our today topic will be useful for you. Last but not least, the questionnaire section is waiting for you to complete at the left of the screen. By sharing us your feedback is very important to TAT to improve our project in the near future. Please be informed that our TAT webinar has been recorded. If you missed any topic or you would like to watch it again, please visit our website at www.tourismthailand.org/webinar. There are still many interesting topics waiting for you. And our tomorrow topic is Korea Market Insight after COVID-19 at 1 p.m. Thailand time. If you are interested, please visit our website and proceed your registration. On behalf of Tourism Authority of Thailand and the entire team of TAT webinar, we would like to thank for your time joining us today. Without you, our TAT webinar project cannot be complete. ขอบคุณและสวัสดีค่ะ